What's up, everyone? This segment of Tell Me About It, Tara is brought to you by the Holy Happy Hour. I'm Tara, and today, in honor of Valentine's Day, love is in the air. We just love it. We love love. Today, I'm going to talk about 5 ways to prepare for marriage. So, the way this video initially started was it was going to be a response to a couple of friends of mine who and other people that I know who wrestle with the question of, have I not met my spouse yet because my standards are too high? So I was going to do a whole video on how to have proper standards for a future spouse, but then it kind of morphed into well, standards are part of preparing for marriage and so on and so forth. So today I'm going to talk about those 5 ways. But I will say, one of my favorite things that I ever did as a missionary, whenever I was a missionary at MIT, I did a little series because many of the girls that I walked with and accompanied those who were in my Bible studies, they just asked questions. What kind of guy should I date? And what we did was we did this little thing. One of my students coined it DNR, Dating and Relationship Series. And what I did was to teach the girls in my Bible study about who to date, how to date. We had to zoom all the way out and we had to talk about marriage itself. What is marriage? How did God ordain marriage to be? Does it last forever? What does that mean for children? And so on and so forth. All those questions that come with any discussion about marriage. And it was really awesome because we started very broadly. Okay, what is marriage? And then began to hone in on, okay, so if marriage is this, then how should I be preparing for it? And what type of person should I marry? And then, okay, if I know those things, then what should I be looking for as I begin to date? So if you're single and it's Valentine's Day and you're like, man, when am I going to meet my spouse? Or, man, are my standards too high? Are they too low? Why can't this work? Hopefully this video can be a source of encouragement and consolation to you as you continue to wait, as you continue to battle it out, as you prepare to meet your spouse. So I will say, pertaining to the standards question, what I would encourage you to do is, if you haven't yet, man or woman, write down a list of traits that you are looking for in a person. And this can be, what I would suggest is having your non-negotiables. So this person must love God, must blah, 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 whatever it is that you're looking for, that you're like, yep, if this person doesn't check this box, a marriage just simply won't work. So if faith is really important to you, then yes, you would probably need to marry someone who also shares the same faith as you. So write down that list, your non-negotiables. No matter what, this person must have these traits. And then maybe a list of, they're not non-negotiables, it's not a deal breaker, but this would be my preference. And I would encourage you to make this list in prayer or take it to prayer and really kind of start to hone this list. It's funny, some people, I've heard stories where the list can be like 20 things. But then for other people, it could be like 3 things. So it really just depends on what your preferences and what your desires are. But if you haven't already, if you have not sat down and really thought about what your standards are for a future spouse, now is the time to do it. Okay, so let's talk about 5 ways to prepare for marriage. So again, when I wrote this video, I was kind of getting a little bit down a rabbit hole because I could start to define what marriage is. Well, what are we aiming for? Is it lifelong or not? Is divorce a possibility? Is contraception a thing or not? And the thing is, we could go a number of directions. So I'm just going to give you 5 ways to prepare for a Christian marriage, okay? So hopefully these things will apply if you are watching this video and you're not Catholic, but you are a Christian. But also, hopefully it will apply if you are Catholic. So let's talk about those 5 things. Okay, number 1, how do I prepare for marriage? Number one, learn about marriage. Learn about it, study it. So marriage is one of my favorite things to talk about. I love it. I love talking about marriage and dating and all that good stuff. And I've read a lot of books. I've read a lot of books on marriage. I'm not married yet, but man, I love to read the books on marriage, on love, on the different types of love, etc. So if you haven't done this yet, you need to learn about marriage. And I'm going to attach a book list. I'm going to give a list to Josh to attach to this video so that if you don't even know what books to read about marriage, you'll find a book list attached in the comments below. You got to learn about it. So learn about it from books, because we need to let our minds be formed by intellectual truth about what marriage is and what we're aiming for, because we can't look to our culture's example of marriage to prepare for the kind of marriage that we desire, that Christian holy sacramental marriage. That requires different preparation, because it is a thing. It is a very different thing to date and prepare for a marriage when you think that divorce is a thing and a possibility, versus preparing for a marriage that you believe lasts until the death of the spouses. So learn what marriage is, learn about it, learn what the church says about it, and so on and so forth. But another way to learn about marriage is to spend time with holy married couples. This is actually one of the best ways to learn about marriage, because then you will see, one, that marriage is not this like fantasy or this like lofty, amazing, beautiful thing all the time, and married couples are just dancing in rainbows and everything is sparkly. It's just not true. If you spend time with married couples long enough, and especially if they have children, you're going to see that it's a mess, and that the spouses maybe don't always look like they love being around each other, and a lot of times their communication is, hey, can you like change our baby's diaper? Or, hey, like, do you need help with dinner? Can you do the dishes? And we need to be able to see that. We need to be able to see what real life marriage is and what it looks like and what it contains, and to be okay with that. I found that a couple of years ago, when I first started as a missionary, I met a lot of really unhappy married couples. And I wondered to myself, am I hoping for and desiring the wrong thing? Because I can't wait to be married and I can't wait to have a family. But why does everybody look so miserable? Am I setting myself up for failure, looking forward to something that nobody seems to really be enjoying? And the fact of the matter is, I did have to wrestle with that for a little bit of time. But then it got to a point where I was like, man, I can't wait for that mess. I can't wait to learn how to love someone in the mundane, and to learn how to love someone when maybe it's not as sparkly as it once was, or to learn what it looks like to kind of consistently rekindle that love even amidst those daily tasks and responsibilities. So spend time with married couples. See how they live for real. And know too that marriage, just like our own relationship with Jesus, it goes through so many different seasons. Sometimes the seasons are beautiful and they're awesome and they're fun, and other times you're just grinding and you're just trying to get through the day. So know that as well, that there are different seasons, and that's a good thing, because in and out of whatever season it is, your love is going to be purified and strengthened, as long as you continue to give yourself to God and ask Him to help you love your spouse to the best of your ability, no matter the season. So spend time with married couples, read about marriage, learn about married saints. Also, if you're Catholic, study married saints of the Catholic Church, because they do exist, and their lives are beautiful and amazing and inspirational. So that's number one. Okay, number two, you must pray. Talk to God. And when I say pray, I don't mean just pray about marriage all the time and pray about your vocation all the time. No. I'm talking about have a relationship with Jesus. Pray every single day. Have a consistent relationship with Him. And yes, talk to Him about your desires for marriage. Talk to Him about your vocation. And and bring to him that list all the time, he never, ever, 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 I want to emphasize that, gets tired of hearing about your desires. He never gets tired of hearing about it, and he never gets tired of hearing from you. So build that relationship with Jesus. Build that trust. Build that hope in him. Spend time with him every single day. That's one of the best ways that you can prepare for marriage. Number 3, be virtuous. Okay, so if you're spending time in prayer with Jesus, hopefully you are also becoming like him. The more we spend time with him, the more we become like him. It's a fact. So if you want a holy marriage, you yourself must be holy. Because you will be bringing, it's 100%, 100%. It's not like 50-50, 2 incomplete people coming together. It's 2 complete people coming together to form a covenant. And guess what? Marriage, like I said, is super messy. But it's not as messy, and it's a lot better, and we can handle the mess when we are virtuous. So if you want a holy, virtuous marriage, then you must start being virtuous now. If you want to be courageous, if you want to be disciplined and temperate, if you want to be humble and you want to learn how to die to yourself, you don't have to get married to do all of that. You can actually start doing it now. Not to mention that if you yourself are holy, then you will attract other holy people. Holiness is not attractive to a person who is not holy and seeking God. It might be it might be off-putting or weird, but if you are holy, then you will attract the right person to marry you, because holiness is attracted to holiness, and holiness in and of itself is attractive. So be holy. Don't lower your standards. Don't not be virtuous because you're afraid of sharing your faith, or you're realizing that maybe there aren't a lot of holy men and women out there. And so if you yourself are virtuous, then you don't attract those people. Well, guess what? You don't want to marry them anyway. You don't want to marry them anyway. You want to marry somebody who's going to help you be holy, and who's going to help you be a saint, and who's going to help you love Jesus with all your heart, soul, and mind. So you can actually start being virtuous now, because guess what? If you're virtuous now, you're going to attract the right spouse, and you will help your spouse to be holy come your wedding day. And obviously before that, when you're discerning marriage and whatnot. So be holy. Raise the standards of the person that you want to date by you yourself being holy. Because you'll notice pretty quickly, if you're pursuing Jesus and you start dating somebody who maybe says they're a Christian, but turns out they don't pray, it turns out they don't read the Bible, turns out they don't really care about being a saint, you will find pretty quickly that it's not going to work. And that's great. So be as holy as you want to be. The spouse that you imagine their holiness, be as holy as that. Strive to be what you desire in a spouse. Okay, here we go. Number 4, I think I'm losing track of my list. Number 4, date well. Now, I can't do a whole video on dating. There are plenty of Catholic videos out there on how to date well. Ascension Presents offers a lot of them that I would recommend. But here's what I will say. Date well. If you're a man and you're listening to this video, I would say these things to you. Be clear. Let her know what the heck you are doing. If you want to take her out to coffee and you're not ready for it to be a date, you just want it to be a pre-date, you want to just be like, you just want something to just have coffee, see if it's even worth taking her on a date because you're not sure if you connect yet. Let her know that. Hey, I'd like to get to know you better. Would you like to have coffee? Great. Doesn't need to be a big fuss. That's awesome. Okay? So be clear about what you're doing, what your intentions are. Don't do this weird, like, hanging out in a setting that could be a date, but you never specified to her that it was a date. That doesn't honor her dignity, and it confuses her, and she ends up asking questions and wondering. No, just be clear. Do you want to date her or not? If you do, then do it and let her know, and if you don't, then great. Don't pursue her. Easy peasy. So be intentional about it. Let her know what you're doing and why. Be confident, okay? It doesn't always come easily to men. Some men, confidence can be part of their personality, not always for other men. But be confident in what you are doing. Women are attracted to confidence. Be mature and be decisive, okay? So women, We desire to follow, we desire to be led, but we can't lead somebody who doesn't make decisions. So make those decisions. If you like her, go for it. If you don't, end it or don't pursue, okay? Women, this is for you. If you want someone to pursue you, then you need to let them know. There's this term that a friend shared with me like years ago called dropping the handkerchief. So if you want a man to know that you're interested, you got to drop the handkerchief. Drop it, give him the opportunity to pick it up. So this means that you can actually let him know that you are interested, that you want to be pursued by you yourself reaching out, pursuing, talking to him, maybe asking him to get coffee first, whatever. It's no big deal. It doesn't have to be a big deal. But sometimes guys just don't know and they can't tell, and we can be a mystery to them. And we don't want to make this any harder on them than it needs to be. So if you're interested in somebody, let him know. You don't have to ask him on the date, but let him know that you have interest. You know, just do those feminine things that we know how to do where we let a man know we're interested, because again, they can't always read your mind. No, let me rephrase that. They can never read your mind, so it's okay to let them know what you're thinking. So the reverse flip side of that is, so like men, if you want to pursue. Women, if you want to be pursued, let it be known. The opposite side of that is, if something isn't headed in the right direction, say you have started dating somebody, or maybe you've started a relationship, but you see that it's not headed in the right direction. So maybe it turns out you're not really growing in holiness. You don't handle conflict well. You don't like each other's families or friends, or you don't get along with them, or you have different visions for your life and missions for your life, and your dreams are not aligning. Great. End it. It's that simple. If it's not working, and if it's not headed towards marriage, and you have received pretty confident evidence that that seems to be the case, and you've given it the due time to determine that, make the decision and end it. That is okay. It is good to break up. It is a good and holy thing to break up if the relationship or the dating is not headed in the right direction. Now, the flip side of that is, say you are dating and your visions and missions for life do align, your dreams align, you get along with each other's families, you have a lot of things in common, you are making each other holy. Great. Get married. It's also very simple. A lot of times we just spend way too long discerning, but it's actually because we fear making a decision. Don't be afraid to make that decision. Here's the deal. Marriage is a sacrament. God wants it more than you want it, which means He is guiding you, which means if you're desiring it and it's making sense and it's falling into place, take the leap, stop wasting time, get married, and begin your lives together. So, number 5, last way, I guess I have a list, so I just assume they're all reasons. The last way to prepare for marriage is to have hope. So I think I've put this on the list because many people are losing hope that they're going to find a spouse. They're losing hope that they're ever going to be married. Here's the deal. If you have a relationship with Jesus and you are confident that He wants you to be married, have hope that He's going to provide for you, because He will. He wants holy marriages and He wants holy families. And He knows the desires of your heart, and He has placed those desires there for a reason. And it's really, really important for us that we not give up on Him. He doesn't give up on us, and it's important that we don't just write off marriage, because, yeah, I know it's tough. It's tough to meet somebody, but don't write it off. Continue to have hope that God wants it for you. Continue to have that hope as you look for those opportunities to date, as you encounter breakups, as you have those lulls where you don't meet anybody. Keep having hope, and that's why praying is on the list, because prayer helps us to continue to put that hope in God and continue to put our trust and our confidence in Him that He's going to take care of it. And I promise you, because I know this from personal experience, Whatever you give to God, He will turn it into something that you never, ever could have imagined it would ever be. So don't be afraid to give Him your desires. Don't be afraid to give Him your dating experiences, your relationships, the person that you want to marry. Don't be afraid of giving those things to Him, because He takes it and He makes it good, and He makes it beautiful, and He makes it better than anything you could have ever imagined for yourself. So don't compromise those non-negotiables. Don't give up on hope. Continue to trust in Him that He's going to provide, and be patient. So you've been watching Tell Me About It, Tara, brought to you by the Holy Happy Hour, and we just talked about 5 ways that we can prepare for marriage. Happy Valentine's Day. I'm Tara, and I will catch you guys later.